On today's Toy Spot, we're going to be looking at the Iron Man 2, the movie series, 3 3/4 inch figures. Today we're going to be looking at the Iron Man Mark IV. Now, I'll tell you right off the bat, I'm not as big of an Iron Man fan as maybe the next guy. I don't know who the next guy is, but as the next guy. I don't remember much transition between the Mark IV and the Mark III. I'm trying to just remember here. I know with the original movie, there was the Mark I that he built, the Mark II, and then the repainted Mark III, and then there was the Mark IV here, but the Mark IV does look a lot like the Mark III. If any true Iron Man fans out there watching this video, just let me know the difference between the Mark III and the Mark IV, because on the back, it doesn't show it on the back here, but on the back, somebody had actually told me in a previous video that to get a true Mark III, that I could get the one that actually had the additional torso armor, and you could actually just take that armor off. I had the Mark III in hand at my local Walmart, and for one reason or another, the paint just was terrible on that figure. I ended up putting him down, but I did see a Mark IV, and for really all intents and purposes, the Mark IV looked almost exact to the Mark III, so I just decided to go with the Mark IV. But again, if anyone knows the difference between the two models, do definitely let me know. But as you can see, unfortunately, I did grab a Mark IV, and his paint looks pretty good, but look at the arms. His arms are completely bent. His leg is completely bent as well. Ooh, I'm hoping this figure's not going to give me any troubles, but the figure comes with two launching missiles. I only see one, but maybe once we open it up. On the back of the package, once again, Canadian packaging. We got Mark V, we've got the War Machine here. We've got a couple of variations. It almost kind of looks like a Mark V, but with extra armor. Mark VI there. Got the light up figure as well. I saw that, but I don't know. He lit up, but the figure just didn't seem as impressive. Kind of looked a little cheaper. But that's packaging on the Mark IV. What we'll do is we'll get this opened up, and we will have a better look at not the Mark III, but we're going to be having a look at the Mark IV. So stay tuned, guys. Don't go anywhere. And out of his package, let's have a look at the Iron Man 2. The Mark IV figure. I won't spend too much time with the stand and the schematic card. Of course, you guys have seen these, I'm sure, with the dozens and dozens of reviews that you've seen on YouTube of these guys. One thing to note, though, is that this particular schematic card has the Iron Man actually with his rocket launcher, which is one of the few times I seem to recall the... and granted, I don't have all the figures, but of the figures that I've picked up, one of the first times that they've actually put the rocket launcher on the schematic card. If you're not a fan entirely of the schematic card with the rocket launcher on his arm, I mean, no doubt between all the other cards available with these figures, you can easily just swap out the arm part with another arm part of perhaps a Mark VI, and I guess kind of get the same effect. So he does have that. He does have his missile launcher. I'll just put Iron Man here for a second. It's going to lay down. I think Tony's already been in the bottle. So he does come with his missile launcher. And rather interesting to point out, too, if we bring in the package, two launching missiles. Two launching missiles. You get the idea. They market it as having two firing missiles. As you can see, though, his missile launcher only has one missile. Unless I'm missing something. No. Nope, he definitely does seem to only come with one missile. The missile fires, and actually fires quite a good distance too. But he doesn't come with two missiles, and I don't know why they marketed the figure as having two missiles when he didn't. But the missile launcher you can snap onto his arm, like so. It's not really for everybody, and it's certainly not for me. I would just leave these guys off altogether. And let's have a look at the Mark IV. And the only thing I can think of, and again I apologize, I'll start this end of the review by just saying I don't know enough about Iron Man to tell you that the differences between the Mark III and the Mark IV. The only thing I can think of is the fact that perhaps the Mark III was more the Iron Man 1 costume with slight differences, and then the Mark IV, even though I don't remember if it was mentioned in the movie it being a Mark IV, but perhaps just the start of Iron Man 2, he was just outright wearing the Mark IV outfit. Because if you bring in the Mark VI, later redone costume, as you can see, the two figures, aside from the top torso, sport the exact same mold. It's the exact same mold. Same paint scheme, same everything else. The only thing to note, and actually something that a YouTuber had mentioned to me as well, is the fact that the Mark IV has the open hand. Actually on the right side, whereas the Mark VI actually has the open hand on the left side. But aside from that, those shoulder pads, everything else, armor-wise, is the same on this figure except for the upper torso. In the way of the Mark IV's articulation, he has the articulated head. He has a ball-jointed shoulder, which luckily the shoulder pad itself is mounted to the arm and not actually to the upper part of the body. So it doesn't hinder at all the movement in the arms. The arms move back and forth, in and out. You can rotate the arms at the forearm. You can bend at the elbow. You can rotate the hand. Unfortunately, the same problem I had with the Mark VI, I unfortunately have the same problem with this Iron Man, and that's the fact that his torso is a bit loose. His legs can bend back and forth, in and out. Rotate at the thigh. You can bend the knee at 2 points. Sadly, a bit loose as well in the knee. And you can bend the foot up and down as well as rotate it back and forth. Unfortunately, if you remember how he looked in the package, while I was able to fix up the arms, the legs unfortunately are a bit bow-legged. If it gives me too much hassle, I might end up just heating them and then warping them back into place. But actually, it doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad at all. I would give this figure, and I'm trying to remember what I gave the Mark VI, but I would give this figure likely a 7 or a 7.5. I would say unless you're a die-hard Iron Man fan, you don't necessarily have to pick up both costumes. Certainly one looks just as good as the other, except for the middle of the torso. But the fact that they share pretty much the exact same torso, or same body, you can actually go either way and just pick up one of the two, unless you are a die-hard fan and you want to get both costumes that are in the movie. So a 7.5 for the Iron Man 2, 3 3/4 inch. Today we're looking at the Mark IV. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for many more toy spots to come, and I'll see you guys next time.